there with regards to Shui, and that is that there is one comparative head-to-head we've had aside from the Widowmaker, and that was early in Oasis. We did see him on the Pharah against a week, and he did outclass a week in that respect. And speaking of, we do have a week back in on Talon, yeah, over TYG, and we do have Bazzi as well staying in.
So it's a different kind of DPS mix now. We've now seen all the permutations of what they can do with the 3 DPS players. Rather, we're about to see what they can specifically do with this permutation. I'm going to start things off with the high ground approach. Orisa and D.Va again. I suspect that Bazzi will be going back to spawn, coming back out on a Widowmaker. That would make the most sense. Now they've kind of covered all the different ground again. Now they kind of covered all the bases. Whatever Machi want to bring, Talon should have an answer.
I do like this setup here as well, out of Talon. Getting the Orisa up on the high ground with the Zenyatta there, crucially, it helps keep the Zenyatta a fair bit safer. Helps keep everyone topped off. It is a little bit weak to maybe getting dislodged, displaced. Once you do get bumped off there, you can't get back up because you're reliant on the Mei. So if Machi can recognize that, they can start playing to that game plan. But it's hard to do that against all that spam.
Oh.
In the trap, he's going to be just fine.
He's actually going to live. So the interesting thing here, Creative is taking a lot of damage. Ooh. He's also going to live. Burst surviving headshots. He didn't get headshot, but he's surviving shots from the Bazzi sniper.
I shouldn't be alive.
Stepford are going to go challenge directly, but expect Shui to make a flank play. That's what they really need. They need to surround this high ground position and then land the dive.
And it's hard. It's hard for Shui to go in here with a weak there. If he does get caught in a trap, he's going to go down quickly. Diving in, they do get Haru, but Machi have really lost much of what they want to be diving with here, namely the D.Va and Winston. Shui is aware of this. He's just kind of playing harassment here, but he knows full well he's going to have to back off here until the tanks can arrive.
Like I said, the good news is the Machi respawns do come in a little bit closer, a little bit quicker, so Talon do now have to try and regroup with their members, and while that's happening, Machi take a lot of ground. They're onto the point, 1-6 already gone.
And this is the other way to deal with this team comp. It is hard to dislodge it unless they have to go to ground to stop you from capping out, and with 2/3 already. As they went to move to ground, Stepford got a couple of nice kills in there. Even though he goes down to the counter snipe from Bazzi, the damage has been done, and Talon just die one by one as they drop onto the point. The cap goes the way of Machi, and I don't know if they can quite snowball here.
I think they should be able to. 4 ultimates, about to be 5, or about to be 4 into 5 ultimates. And Talon Esports, this has to be an absolutely fantastic game-winning, game-saving tire coming out of a week. If not, well, it's going to be lights out for them.
Certainly, if anything can do it, though, it is a well-placed tire. That is a very early Valkyrie from Burst, and Bazzi's already down. The tire's in trouble, goes down. They had full tabs on that. Now it's onto Gogora to maybe play Disrupt or find some way to get a bunch of kills with the self-destruct. Countering out Shui's Dragon Blade is fairly nice. They do lose Villeneuve, but that could have been a lot more deadly as those self-destructs do start to come in. Gogora not getting the mileage. Machi, they're able to stay in this one for quite a while. Talon have not responded with any kills.
That's a great spot.
Yeah, just exactly. Despite the respawns coming in, there's nothing they've been able to do about Machi. Even with Shui finally going down, the tide has turned fully the way of Machi here, and Talon are unable to beat it back here. Just not enough members up. 2/3 now. Last hurrah from Talon. Not going to get boots on the point. And they were able to snowball very successfully there, Machi.
And Creative played so well as well. Just true to his name. That gets the opening kill. Lands the shot into the tire as well. That tire that a weak and Talon really needed to skill that defense. Gets himself up onto high ground. Lands some great shots onto members waiting to come in. Another thing that Machi did quite well as well is they got down Villeneuve, killed the Winston player, waited for Haru to come and get the res. Immediately, they jumped on top of Haru, got that kill as well. And then Talon just slipping away, losing far too many members. Shui did go down, but that doesn't dissuade Machi. They complete the cap anyway. The snowball is effective.
On the whole, just nicely played by Machi. Even their point A offense was very nice, countering out Talon's plan. They've had the one where they tried to go a little bit more head-on, when, okay, that didn't work, but we don't need to do that. We've got other options. Just really like the restraint, the discipline, and the effectiveness in the execution.
Well, the trades just work so well for the attackers, right? I mean, Machi knew that even if they lose, As long as they can get reasonable trades here, especially if they can get Haru, the Mercy player, out of there, no res to come into effect. That means 2 players, including Mercy, have to come from spawn. Meanwhile, Machi just running it from their spawn, which is so much closer, overwhelm the Talon Esports members who are still looking for reinforcements. Eventually, 2 ticks are gone. Talon have to jump onto the point, and then it's all over for A.
And because of the positioning of that situation, I mean, the members that are generally at the most risk as you approach a dive were kind of past the danger zone. They were still hovering very close to the defenders. It's just a good position for the attackers in general. Now we have to see Machi find their own kind of answer here. I like this trap up in the high ground by Shui to really try and punish out any Genjis.
It's going to be a different setup from Machi as well. You'll notice that Talon had that high ground setup, the Widowmaker perch, if you will, right in the sort of center back area. But Machi's going to play much more forward. They want to control this early space, get a lot of spam damage from Shui much earlier on, and then adapt from there. So Talon, they shouldn't struggle as much to attack the high ground, but at least on this lower ground area, the fight happens so much.
Yeah, and I really like this. I mean, spam damage notwithstanding, there's also just the room to pull back if Talon do start making headway. Machi give themselves a lot of breathing room here. They do need to be careful to not get picked, though, by Bazzi. Stepfedger needs to really keep tabs on that. Gogora's been able to remech, and they are moving in towards the point. So now actually Machi have to respond. This is a little uncomfortable for them. Weren't able to retreat in an ideal situation.
And they don't even have high ground either. You can see the tanks there. Villainho just waiting to jump on. And Shui has to try and make a play.
Oh,
he does have a tire, but he's got no health.
But they've been able to get out Bazzi. That removes a lot of pressure on Machi's supports, and they picked off a tank. It removes a lot of the dive potential, even demeching Gogora here. Machi have been able to wrest control of this point back. Shui needed to do something creative there. He did, and it paid off.
Gets himself res back in as well, so Ty will be in effect in this next fight right before Talon can really get any good uses, any good tools to counteract it. Judo as well, just going to make that spawn even longer for Talon as the ultimates start to come online for Machi in a very convincing manner.
And this is where Talon are going to fast finding themselves just, you know, again, throwing bodies. Human wave doctrine. They've got to try and turn this ultimate advantage around, or maybe try and find a way in with a week's Dragon Blade as soon as that comes up. But here's that Tire going to try and stop that one short. Gets onto Gogora, but not enough to demech. There's a recovery window here. No, they're able to, yeah, they close off the demech. That's important for Machi. There was a brief window where Haru could top off Gogora. Missing that window means that Talon have to come in for another round.
Talon are kind of finding it difficult to find the correct approach here. Still losing members, actually. If they lose too many, it's just going to be too many members they have to wait for. What they do manage to get, though, is some ultimates finally. Machi continuing to pop ultimates to continue this defense, I guess, but 145 and under now remaining. You got to think Talon's time to strike has finally arrived. This is going to be the push that counts.
That was very nicely done on the back end of that last fight by Machi. Talon were in a tough spot to withdraw from, so Machi spammed the choke such that Talon had to run through all that damage, and then the more mobile members of Machi were willing to go forward and collect up kills. I really like how they handled that, and it means that Talon are now very lean for time and not in a great position ultimate-wise either.
Still waiting because Bazzi did switch over onto the Tracer as well. They've been kind of flip-flopping on how they want to approach this. Oh, he does going to kill the Stepfedger, so this is a great start so far.
Quick res though, and Stepfedger still on that high ground as well. Means Awik is going to have to find his way up there. Looking to get onto Shui though, who's able to stay healthy thanks to that Transcendence. But Burst going down means they lose a lot of that healing. Shui looking for a big tie-up. Wow, finds Awik and Haru. Completely stops Talon up short. Even with those closer respawns, even with Creative going down, the Judo and Leo still anchor this point. Villainho's about to run out of health on that Primal Rage. Gogora trying to reset that mech, not going to be able to get back in it, and Talon are going to have to take this one on the chin, and it's wasted a lot of time.
They're not going to fall back just yet. They may still have some members available here, but it's Shui staying alive with the help of Leo, just maintaining that frontline control and anchor, like you sort of said there. Just enough members, just barely keeping that point alive for Machi Esports. Talon now, that was a failed push, and this one's going to be tough.
Stepfedger looking to go toe-to-toe with Bazzi. We need to see Awik pull out the blade here and get something done with it. It's really their last hurrah. Goes straight in for the back line. Doesn't get the early connect. Finally finds Creative, and then Haru with the subsequent swing. Shui as well. This is what Talon have been needing, but they are hemorrhaging members. It's just a week, and Bazzi here, Persia barely staying up, but it is just barely enough. Despite the overtime, they get the gong with only 3 members, 2 of whom were not looking healthy. But hey, if it's stupid and it works, then it ain't stupid.
Well, last time, right, Shui pulled out the tire, collects both Haru and a weak, stops that Genji Dragon Blade from coming out. This time around, you finally do get to see the blade. The damage was done there, and then Bazzi comes in with the late pulse bomb just to secure the tanks, just to add some extra damage in there, and Talon have bought themselves another life. 4 minutes to get this B push underway. It's going to be hard. They're already under the time that Machi set for their own time back.
And hey, Shui, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Gonna stick on the Junkrat, another tire at his disposal, and Stepfagin changing things up a little bit, as are Talon, completely so, in fact.
Comes a tire, gonna be looking for Haru if he can help it, or maybe Persia.
He'll take Villeneuve.
Shui res though.
Yeah, Shui did lose his life for that. They're actually doing a quite good job of guarding the body of Villeneuve because of where he died. He's making it impossible for Haru to come in for a res. Double Transcendence out, but Machi do retain control of this point here. Talon having not been able to res in the Winston, and now kind of throwing ultimates in that didn't get the mileage they needed, have not been able to get that snowball.
I'd be interested to see if Talon actually want to go for a compositional swap here, because they did really throw a lot of bodies onto it. They did put a lot of effort into that push, used a lot of ultimates. You'd think maybe this is when they actually want to change, because this would be the only time that they could afford to change. Any other time now following, with 2 minutes and about 30 remaining, is not going to happen. If they want to make a change, it happens now, and I'm not too sure they will. Bazzi, though, can come back with fire.
Yeah, it's looking like he's too close to that rocket barrage to give that one up. They're wanting to stick with it. They want to try and make it work. He's going to have a hard time against Stepfagin. They really need to find a way to dislodge the McCree. Villeneuve is going to go in for that dive again. Didn't work out from last time. Deadeye is going to catch Gogora's mech. Going to get reset, but a weak in that same time is going to go down. There's the rocket barrage that they were banking on, but it's only evened up things in terms of the number of members alive. Yeah, they do get burst, but they trade it for Haru, and Machi have the closer respawn. Talon haven't had enough time on this point to tick up a third, and I think they're just going to end up pulling back from this one. A very expensive loss.
That's such a great start. They took out both supports. Creative didn't get a chance to use his Transcendence. Burst dies with the Valkyrie as well. You look at Talon, you think if maybe Haru lives and then Persia gets a Transcendence off, this could be an attack where you start to see some progress really tick up. And now they're running out of time to get significant progress. They can't play for thirds anymore. They got to play for one push where they can just get the win off just that.
And you can already see Shui sneaking around the side looking for a single pick. Might not even need it because they've already killed Bazzi. And this is how Machi can just turn this into a death by inches for Talon, getting the pulse bomb on Haru as he was slowly floating for the res. And that's going to drill the clock down to that 1 minute mark. Suddenly Talon end up in desperation. And Machi did that with only one ultimate expended.
Talon can't even really save up for a Doom push either, because look at Machi, 4 ultimates, soon to be 5. If Stepfagin can get this Deadeye up and running before the timer goes to 0. Talon Esports, though, they're far more concerned about this timer. Less than 1 minute, and they don't have a lot of opportunities. Blade is available for a week, but so are the support ultimates for Machi.
They're going in, they're committing. Valkyrie and Transcendence, what little they have. Judo tries to split them up with a self-destruct, doesn't find much. But they're getting the kills. That's what counts. It's not necessarily about the big flashing ultimates. Sometimes it's just about disruption, and it means a weak does not have an opportunity to use the Dragon Blade, dies as he pulls back. And now with 15 seconds left, Talon are going to be going full panic mode on this last one.
They still have to wait for a week to get back into the action as well. He's got the key ultimate here. He's got the one that can maybe pull out the win, but Talon didn't even force out either burst or creative support ultimates there. That one's probably the nail in the coffin. If those are gone, then maybe the blade works.
And Machi are ready for it. They've already had Stepfagin on this McCree. They've popped Shui onto Brigitte. They know the Dragon Blade is all Talon have. They know that it's been that long since it's last been seen. They just need to disrupt the Genji. Here it goes. Will he get stopped up? Getting buffeted about. by Leo. Now the Deadeye in as well. Ooh, nearly caught Haru on the flyby, but Shui's going to do the honors instead. Popping Persia as well. Talon up a tree without a ladder here. Even though a weak does get that one back, Machi should have that respawn advantage. And if Talon get too many boots on the ground, Judo would have had the self-destruct. Doesn't even need it. That's the win for Machi. They will take the series off the back of that thanks to the tie. The question now becomes, will they turn it into a 3-0 with the escort as well?
And back on Kings Row, you got to kind of think, well, maybe Talon could have won that, maybe Machi were deserving. Hard to say who really should have taken the map. Well, you look at Anubis, this one was definitely Machi on all regards. Defensively, they were better. Offensively, they were better as well. Capped out more than 5 minutes remaining on the time bank. Talon, they couldn't even do the deed.
And it seems to be when you take Machi to a map that is somewhere within the Arab world, they're able to win. That's the difference maker here. Egypt's considered.
I guess, yeah.
It's in Africa, but like
map
people consider it the Arab world.
Unfortunately, look at map 4 is not going to be.
There's no option. Yeah, none at all. Unfortunate.
Not even from the other selections.
Actually, arguably Watchpoint Gibraltar because it's in North Africa. And like there have been a lot of times in history where it's been controlled by various Islamic caliphates, but it's currently under British control. So
that one's out. That one's going to be another Kings Row, which means we're going to tie even though it's escort.
Yes,
and we can't even tie on escort, but it's going to happen.
That's the difference maker. If it's Arabic, it's Machi. If it's British, it's a tie. There we go. We've figured it out. They just got to pick the right maps. They're going to win. They're going to win the whole season.
I would like to see if either of these teams, well, not either, it's actually going to be Talon's map choice. They did lose. If they want to take us to Rialto, because we haven't seen that yet. We've seen our first Gibraltar this evening. We've seen a lot of Route 66. So what's it going to be for Talon Esports? And we're at the sort of stage where, because these two teams are still reasonably closely matched, despite Anubis being mostly in Machi's favor, this could still be one coming back for Talon, which would be very important for their journey through the season. They don't want to start this one with a loss.
And they did have that draw.
Sorry, they have already lost, but big loss.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, you know what I mean? I know what you mean. You also know what I mean, but that's separate. What a mess. But yeah, they do want to get that one win back. Same as what Blank did against CAG, what Mega failed to do earlier today against Monster Shield. You want to at least get that one back. Oh, here we go. Nondescript Italian Venice-alike. We're going to Rialto. I love this place. It's got a bit of the Venice. It's got a little bit of Rome in there. It's got a little bit of Florence. They're just like taking an eyedropper tool around famous Italian cities. I love it. The only thing we're missing is something from Tyrol because it's basically Germany.
And this one's going to be, I guess, if you're a fan of the current map, it's going to be another Widow map. But most of the escorts are, so you got to get there anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You are going to see it no matter what. And so here's the thing. The first point's going to be largely dominated, I suspect, by shield tanks. It's mostly what we've seen is a lot of big shield battles on that first choke, supported by Hanzo, supported by Widowmakers. But at the same time, Korean teams have been kind of doing different stuff, so I want to see maybe they shake things up, maybe they find a different method to really progress through the map. And actually, one cool thing about this is when you think about it from a sort of psychological standpoint, if Talon are really looking for a victory, maybe they pick Rialto because they can suspect Machi don't practice it enough, or maybe there's slightly more practice on this. There are the mind games coming in as well.
And we were talking about that a little bit yesterday, you know, when we were talking about Rialto, new to the pool and all that jazz. Often teams will just steer a little bit clear of a map that's newer to the pool. You know, you don't want to go to that unknown quantity, especially if it's an important map to win in order to take a series. You want to go to the familiar Route 66 and Watchpoint Gibraltar, maps you've been playing for years. But all it takes is for one team to feel confident enough on the new map to crack it, to take other teams to it, and then suddenly those other teams have to make sure they know it too. Otherwise, it's an auto lose if it ever gets locked in. So I like this pick here from Talon, win or lose. And what we're also really going to see is just how capable either of these teams are on the new map.
Here's an interesting thought. By the way, just while we were sitting on this boat here, you sort of notice there's just stairs off to the side, so you can just open the door and just walk directly into the water.
No, like that, absolutely, yeah. That's how it is in Venice. No joke. Because a lot of it's historical. Like, those weren't always canals. So, like, some of those stairs were actually going somewhere before they, like, before the city, like, flooded as it is now. all the canals and stuff. And
imagine,
even then,
imagine stairs that didn't go somewhere.
But even then, also like you might hitch up something there and enter your house.
Hop on a boat.
Hop on a boat, gondola.
It's really straining.
He's really mad at that gondola driver.
So what we are also seeing is, so Zarya, Reinhardt, shield tanks coming out to play. We are seeing the Widowmakers, but it is going to be Shui onto that Pharah first. So the thing he has to contest with is stay out of a weak sight lines, and then he can beat the tanks. But it's going to be a battle. A weak should be looking to shut down Shui.
When you said Pharah first, I like to imagine that the first was also spelt with a PH. Just saying, man. Yep. Out of this first band. It's in this courtyard here that things are going to start getting really wild, especially with this double Widow and then the Pharah up in the air. Looking forward to it. So far, Talon just kind of having to take their time with this defense, trying to pepper Machi with bullets. They catch Shui, but there's the immediate answer from Stepvision plus the res onto Shui, and they've already got the numbers in their favor. With those 2 snipers down, Shui should just have free reign against these tanks.
And I started to see Machi just break through into the courtyard section. This is where the defense really starts to crumble, not just because they're losing members, but they lose so much space as well. Now they're just getting pushed even further back. The cart doesn't even get contested. The tanks have already moved up.
So much for keeping a low profile.
I remember Retribution.
Me too. Me too. Ooh, that's a catch. That's got to be a good feeling there. Walks up forward to that health pack. Haru knows he can't go for any kind of res there. He is still under fire. Might even lose his life yet. Yeah, Leo's going to be able to collect that one. And Stepvision is just keeping eye lines all along that open promenade. It's making it really hard for Talon to get remotely set up for Machi.
And Machi's just continuing the snowball, right? They don't even have their full team, but they don't need the full team. They're threatening ultimates now, threatening to use stuff like Earthshadow to really stop Talon. Talon actually have to regroup. They have an ultimate advantage here, and they have to stop this card immediately because so far it's been free push for a decent amount of this B section.
And I like how Machi are playing here, well advanced of the cart. They're making Talon fight for every little bit of ground, but picking off Shui gives them a lot more space to work with, makes it a lot safer for the tanks to start getting moving.
Khan has already made it up to the archway. I like to call this the Dorado section of the map. Graviton Surge available.
Whoa, that is a money Earth Shatter. Not something we see a whole lot of, I say, as we seem to have seen at least 1 per match so far. Collects the full 4, and Machi wondering what the hell just happened.
That's what you need if you're Talon Esports right now. Just run straight through the shields of Leo, slam that one down. Machi flat on their backs. They still have a lot of ultimates to play with, but Talon, they really saved themselves, right? Because that one ultimate is the only ultimate they needed to spend.
I really like how they're using this little bit of cover here for a week as well. Stepvision no longer owns the start lines on their promenade. Yeah, combo indeed. A second wipe. And hey, look, play of the game just happened, everyone. TYG getting the dream Dragon Strike there. Nearly got the full 6, but hey, you'll take 5.
This is where the cart starts to slowly move back, so Talon just reclaiming ground that they lost. Machi, they were quite aggressive to start things off with, and now they kind of having to refight for that initial positioning that they earned so carefully previously in Talon. They still have some ultimates to play with. Machi, they have a combo, but it's not the same combo. They're using it with Barrage.
They're going to have to find an angle in while he's channeling that Barrage. Shui is vulnerable. They do at least finish off TYG, and hey, vulnerable or no, a weak not in a position that he can answer that. It was just kept on lockdown by Stepvision. Very nicely done by Machi. Exactly what they needed to do to make that combo work. And now they get the cart back underway, plus they still have ultimates in the pocket.
Understanding the risks and playing accordingly as well. Shui has to be very considerate of what a weak is doing, and at the same time, he's so considerate, he finds these skills as well. Takes down the one member that can really counter him, and with that, Machi should be able to push unopposed.
And that's exactly what they're doing here. Persia going to have to pop out a Transcendence just to give Talon some room to play with. That means Creative can answer. Does actually
look at this, spawn capping a week.
Yeah, this is absolutely nuts. No one can answer Shui right now, and that means that the tanks, the front line of Talon, are just taking a battering for nothing. TYG and a week aren't exactly able to get much work done. Judo with a ton of charge, already having got another grab available. The cap goes over, and even with a couple of losses on the Machi side of things, they cap point B without too much issue.
And I want to say as well, despite despite Shui dying eventually to a weak, the both of them locking each other into a 1v1 deathmatch, the fact remains, Stephagen is the other widow for the Machi side, and he goes unopposed. If a weak is not there, he doesn't get counted either. Stephagen, 3 shots, Talon Esports, they just go by the wayside.
And that's the thing, theoretically, a week should be dispatching of Shui quickly and then turning his... That's
pretty quick.
I was going to say,
it's not Shui, but it's quick.
Then turning his attention to Stephagen. Did it in the wrong order, but you know what? You'll take it. That is what a week should be doing here. Now that he's finally unlocked, we're seeing what he can do in that position. Took a long time to make that happen. Machi, a little bit taken by surprise on that one, but Talon now finally kind of playing to their own beats.
Well, we're starting to see this coming out of Machi, right? The same sort of beats that you're kind of talking about, which is Machi pushing on through. They get the cap, they get quite aggressive, take some extra ground, and then finally Talon find the correct picks. They find the combos, find an earth shadow, something that puts them back into the game.
I love a good headshot. Like, I feel it physically almost, but there's that grab rocket barrage combo. This time not as profitable for them, but Machi do still get a good number off it and will be able to regain ownership of the cart here. Burst can res Shui, just waiting for that extra bit of safety. And I hope that they can close off on the last few members here. Gogora was really the only one contesting the payload at that point, and Machi, with these last few ultimates, should be able to push through to the end.
Still getting kills as well. This is just not going well for Talon Esports. No res available for Haru as well. Look at the positioning coming from Leo, looking for that shatter as well.
Just trying to find the angle. Both he and Villeneuve have one available. That could be the Definer. No, doesn't quite get the connect. The corner of that shield was enough. There's the Earth Shell onto the other side of it, but rescued by a Transcendence, as was Leo himself. It's only a weak, the casualty in the fight here at this point, but now getting rid of these tanks, that is big news if you're a Machi fan. Reses maybe coming in. Oh, catch on Leo. This could mean that Machi maybe just have to pull back, lick their wounds, readdress this one. Judo nearly with that grab, knows that now is not the time to commit it, nearly had it available, and still a minute to go just to get this last bit of distance.
The good news for Machi is they're very close to ultimates here. Shui could actually change to something like a Junkrat, play the pulse bomb here. There is some subtle combo opportunity. You can put the pulse bomb directly into the grab. Not quite as effective as it used to be. Of course, the pulse bomb does a little bit less damage now, or maybe a lot less damage, to be quite honest with you. But Talon Esports as well, you do see TYG going over to that Brigade.
Ooh. It's really the damage fall-off change that has altered that grab combo, but it doesn't matter. Still gets Haru and Gogora. Apparently they were both just close enough. Burst does trade his life for it, but this is a wash for Machi. TYG, that's the full god, and now it's panic mode for Talon. Can they even get anyone on this? I don't know if they can. No, they cannot. Machi get the full cap out.
Just with a little bit of time there as well. It's starting to look quite dire for Machi, but they managed to get it through. Great combo coming on through. 34 seconds is all they had remaining. Kind of looks like a little bit like King's Row. 18 seconds then, but in a kind of different fashion, right? Because you feel like Machi had a great A offense, just blitzed on through. The start of B was very respectable as well. Started to feel like Talon got their feet dug into the ground in the middle section of B. C was pretty 50-50, but ultimately, by the end of it, you have to also credit that Shui's Farah did a lot of work, considering that a week was also trying to hunt him down.
How relaxing. Not that. This is a bit dingy. But before, when we were looking at the canals and everything, that was relaxing. I liked it. It's a nice view. I can see why not Venice attracts a lot of tourists.
Robot Venice. Omnic Venice.
For
a place that's like a real touristy, you've got to believe, you know, this was a Talon base of operations.
Oh yeah,
where Blackwatch did come through. Is this the part of the broadcast where I can brag about my #1 ranking of Retribution that I held briefly?
No, it's not.
Well, all right, I'll save it for another day. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you'll have to bring up the fact that you at some point had #1 ranking in Blackwatch Retribution at a different date.
Yes.
Maybe try it in a week.
Next time we get to Rialto, maybe.
One thing that really throws me off about this map is that we do have a cinema chain over here called Rialto. So whenever it's like, all right, we're going to Rialto, it's like, oh, what are we going to see?
Hopefully some Overwatch.
I hear there's a new Martin Scorsese out. I don't know. Maybe there is.
That's what I like about this is you get to learn the map and the ins and outs of it through the PvE first.
Yeah, where there's no pressure. That's the one problem.
But I was going for number 1. There was a lot of pressure.
That's the problem when when you're playing the PvP is you might just not get to see the whole map.
Oh, okay.
You might just not be good enough. Counter sniped. Shui does get the bump off of Gogora. Creative gets raised back up. And Week's really taking names here. The Talon are underway.
So this is another, again, we're seeing different styles of defense here. Talon wanted to play further back on their first defense. Machi are playing very far forward. They're trying to really take the fight to Talon early. But now Machi do lose a decent amount of space. Got to wait for the respawns ever so slightly. But as long as they maintain control of the choke, everything's okay.
Nice headshot there.
And they lost control of the choke.
I was going to say, it means Leo's in a lot of trouble. Like you said, they lose control of the choke. Look at this, just standing out in the open like a criminal organization in a tourist hotspot.
Which I got to say, by the way, there's a lot of criminal stuff happening. I'm surprised.
You're not even talking about Overwatch anymore.
I'm talking about Retribution. You gave me flashbacks to Retribution, and I'm just thinking about. Anyway, back to this.
Now you're just thinking about criminals.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of Talon operatives just chilling around. No one's
just
ready. Anything. No one called props.
Ah, man.
Let's keep this moving.
It's Italy. You know. I should stop. Anyway, Week not quite finding those same angles.
Great charge into a charge.
Never gets old, man. Never gets sold.
So this is still a somewhat difficult place for Machi. It is a choke, and Shui's taking advantage of it. He's playing on the ground right now because there's no real good verticality until they can break out of this section.
I like it. It's a funny way to actually deal with a Widowmaker is to go right up. Normally, as a Pharah, you don't want to go into those tight enclosed spaces, but it's one of the few situations where it genuinely does favor you compared to the other DPS. A Week, when he's in that enclosed space, he's got nowhere to go, and he can't escape the splash damage. He can't hit those scope shots with any real, what's the word I'm looking for? Any real guaranteedness. I appreciate that. Don't help.
It's just called guarantee. It's just called guarantee. There's a word for it.
Yeah, sure. Without any guarantee. It's not a guaranteed thing. Without any surety. Now I'm coming up with all the synonyms, but it doesn't matter. The point is, it favors the Pharah.
Right now, what is favoring the Pharah again is look at the angle we're playing for Shui. If you're a Weak right now, it's hard for you to approach where Shui currently is. He's hiding behind a building, getting a decent angle. The Earthshadow does come down, though.
Only onto Judo, and he's going to be just fine. Grab does go out, and that's enough to catch Gogora, but this time a Weak picking Shui takes some damage, but he's going to be just fine. Res on Gogora, and that means Talon can start attacking on this choke properly. There's no one really on the side of Machi to anchor it down, and yeah, just a funky Widow duel. A Week's going to close it on.
This has been a very long push for Talon right now, and it's still unclear if they're really going to get it through. A double kill coming from Shui.
Wow.
Judo picks up one as well. We're at the precipice of just this final section. It feels like Talon so close to finishing A, even in a section where, to be quite fair, defenders aren't really supposed to be favored in this place. Once you get into the open courtyard, it means attackers usually just push on through, but Machi are making this defense work.
Especially after they'd already lost the Reinhardt, and I think Judo was dead at a point there as well. But Machi are just finding very creative applications for the Pharah here in ways that Talon can't actually answer adequately. Getting that much mileage out of this pitch. Yeah, finally down. But hey, a Week gets traded out. And Burst was in the pocket, could have maybe gone for a res on Shui. I do like that he's not bothered though. I think they've respected that this is actually the push where it's going to go over to Talon. There's no point throwing even more reses and stuff into it. They're going to take a dive, take a swim, try and come back another day.
I think Machi are going to be very pleased with how their defense went. Despite eventually losing it, I probably weren't meant to hold on for that long. Getting that much distance, getting that much mileage out of what was a very, difficult to hold point. It was just kind of held together by duct tape at that point. Machi now sitting at a decent amount of time remaining, 2 minutes and 10 to defend this B point. Talon, trying to find an opening.
Held together by Craft Glue and Hope.
And Kraft Mac and Cheese.
Kraft Mac and Cheese, which is Craft Glue, actually. Just how congealed that stuff gets. They've already kind of cracked this one, though, especially with the Pulse Bomb on Judo. Even though TYG did end up dying for it, actually catching Gogora there. And with that Valkyrie running, Talon willing to commit more if they want to make this a sure thing, and they don't seem to be willing, and that means Machi can just regain control of this cart, especially with the Rocket Barrage going in there. Double scoop for Leo.
Quad kill.
Yeah. 2 with the Fire Strike, don't see that often.
Double scoop is what I like to get at the cinemas. Talking about ice cream
When you
here.
got a Rialto.
If in case anyone wasn't clear.
What else do you double?
I don't know. I just wanted to be clear. I think it's Italy, man. I don't know. So Machi, they're going to manage.
Yeah, they did invent gelato. That took me a minute. Oh, ouch. There's no recovering from that.
We're at the Dorados. We are at the Dorado section again. So
Yeah.
this archway is again one of those other real choky kind of places that's going to be a very defensive, very important defensive location. Less than 1 minute remaining now.
Then, no kills though. That's a good answer with
no
the
combo
defense.
potential
Yeah,
either.
exactly, and Shui down as well. Stepvision getting pressured out. TYG starting to really get unlocked. Now their own grab to come in here. Even a weak having to fire some shots into it. They've cracked that choke point without too much issue. Talon have got some real momentum on their side now, actually.
But they don't quite have ultimates just yet. This pulse bomb might be good. Shui is able to find a weak so many times. I mean, okay, that was a great pulse bomb.
That was beautiful.
You don't see that every day.
Yeah, but I mean, the Razor's going to come in. They've got the critical mass of kills here. Machi are going to be able to regain control of this. And Talon looked like they really had something going for them. Now this is going to be a potentially very delayed death on Haru. I like the charge in from Leo. He can even Earth Shatter if he wants to make sure of the kill. And this is just burning time off the clock. Persia will not be back with his team by the time.
They're going over the wall.
They're going to have to go over the far side, try and get a sneaky flank around, but a weak is dead. Haru charges in, but he's the only one there. Now finally the tanks arrive. Gogora comes to find that his DPSs and supports are dead. That will complete the hold for Machi, and having already collected the series, they will turn it into a 3-0 on Rialto. It was Talon's pick, but truly it's Machi showing the mastery.
Well, we talked about the pick coming through in the first place, right? It kind of was one of those picks where...
Oh no, this play of the game.
Well, this is the 5 kill?
Yep. Takes 5 like Dave Brubeck.
I don't even get it, but I'll...
It's a very famous jazz song.
Okay. There it is. Okay, there's the 5 kills.
Yep, that's it.
So we're back to talking about the map, right? So when they were picking this map, you're looking and you think about, okay, just Talon, they're on their last legs. They kind of just want to get one in the bag. And Rialto's in the pool, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe Machi don't have this one well practiced. Maybe this is where you sneak one out. Unfortunately, well, Machi showed they got a pretty good grasp on it. Again, Shui just had probably one of the best games that we've seen him play across now both seasons, maybe debatably. But his application of how he used the fire, specifically against the Widowmaker weak on the other side, which is no joke either, and how he played against that was really good.
I really loved taking the fight to the Widowmaker and doing so with that utmost confidence. It really threw a weak for a loop there. But you also saw why it was so impactful, because when it wasn't happening, a week was really popping off. And I love those sort of arms race type situations, especially those asymmetrical ones. Often we see it just in the Widow v Widow, which often ends up just feeling like it's, oh, okay, this one picked this one, it's, you know, and therefore this team is going to win the fight. Yeah. This was a much different situation, and I have to say the fact that Machi were able to make it work for them so consistently was nothing short of impressive.
The other thing is, when you really break it down, Stepvision was also another factor there as well. Because Shui was always in a weak's face, Stepvision got to snipe for free, and so he had a lot of impact as the opposing Widowmaker that didn't have a weak in his face, threatening those 1v1 Widow duels, right? So a weak had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He had to take down both Shui and Stepvision, the Fire, and the Widow on the other side, and that's a hard job to do, especially when Shui's always in your face.
And that's the thing, if Shui was playing the way you expect a Farah to play, it would have been a much different proposition. He would have had no trouble dispatching of Shui, and then you are just in that Widow 1v1, but even if you lose it, you've kind of already had that opportunity, that window where the numbers were in your favor. I feel like we could go back over this so many times. It was interesting, it was creative, and it went off so well. I want to see more of that. I mean, if that's what Machi are capable of, just off the cuff here, this very creative playmaking, this very interesting application of team comps, and the skill that their DPSs do have, I think we can see some really exciting stuff out of this new Machi this season.
Yeah, the Machi definitely being the ones that showed up for the majority of that match, and with that, I think we're going to wrap up match number 2 of the day. So we got one more left to go. It's kind of going to be another sort of middle of the table one, but it's 2 returning teams again. Nova Esports, previously a bang, and Xavier Esports. That's going to round out the first week of Pacific Contenders, and that all happens right after this break.